section 2 is Anu Shree Agarwal. Ma'am, okay. Forward to Anu Shree Agarwal.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
A very good afternoon, everybody. I would prefer you all to keep your mics on mute. All right. In case of any question or any discussion, please raise your hand. Either raise your hand or you can send me a message in the chat box. All right. So let's begin our discussion. Let's begin our session. I just wanted to have a session with you all today so that I could discuss with you all on some points which students generally find a little difficult about this paper. So like how Divya introduced me, I am a chartered accountant and a company secretary, and I've been there, done that. As a company secretary student, you have a lot of theory papers to study. And you have 2 or 3 practical papers like income tax, accounts, and costing, a little bit here and there. And this entire course, the entire company secretaryship course divided across 3 levels is very interesting, especially if you enjoy learning law. Now, in your intermediate level, in your CS executive level, you must be aware you have 8 papers, right? And out of these 8 papers, if you see, if I'm right, I think we have 3 practical papers, just 1 practical paper in the first group, and we have 2 practical papers in the second group, right? So in our first group, we have the first paper, jurisprudence. We have the second paper, company law. We have the third paper, which talks about setting up of business entities. And our fourth paper is tax laws. Now for y'all, I will be handling your paper number 4. Just give me one moment. I'll have to close this sheet and restart. Just give me one moment. Yeah. So I was telling you, for you all, I will be handling paper 4, which is tax laws. Now, your tax laws paper is going to be fully an MCQ paper, an objective paper. This paper of tax laws is divided into 2 parts. You have part A, which is income tax, and then you have part B, which is GST. Okay, and both of these parts are asked for 50 marks each and entirely an MCQ based question paper. That is how your question paper will look like. It will be an OMR based paper wherein you'll have to shade the correct answer. You'll be given circles. I'm sure you know how OMR sheets work. So your paper 4, tax laws, part A of tax laws, that is income tax, this is the part which I will be handling for you all. Now, even though this part is for just 50 marks, the syllabus is pretty huge. The syllabus of this 50 marks, the syllabus of this part A covers a huge set of chapters, all right? If I compare this with the CA intermediate level, this part A of your CS executive covers even more syllabus than what CA intermediate income tax covers. Probably because it is an MCQ paper, the institute thought that they could, give you some more topics to study. A lot of CS professional, a lot of CA final topics you will find in CS executive income tax part A. Just 50 marks, but huge syllabus. That is how your part A of paper 4 is. But it is an extremely interesting part. Now, if you're somebody who starts enjoying this paper, then there's no end to it. Now, I remember the very first time when I was studying income tax was for my CA intermediate exams. And I got such a liking towards this paper that after I finished my CA intermediate, when I had to do my articleship, I chose an articleship where I would spend all my time on just income tax. After I qualified, the job which I chose was an income tax based job. when I was working at PwC, I was working in the income tax team, the direct tax team. Then after I decided to quit the job and get into teaching, my co-papers are income tax and law. So even while teaching, I've chosen income tax. So this one paper is very, very dear to me, and I find this paper very interesting. And over the last 5 to 6 years of my teaching experience, I've been able to pass on this passion towards income tax, which I have, to students. When you have a teacher who's passionate towards a subject, even you start liking the subject, even you start enjoying the subject. You understand? So even though this party is huge, even though it is big, I trust me, you're going to enjoy this part because so much creativity is involved over here. In a paper like income tax, you have concepts. You have to learn the concepts. And when you apply the concept, you have to keep your client in your mind. Your client would want to pay the least tax possible. But at the same time, as a professional, you also have to follow the law. So what would you do? You would give that sort of a creative suggestion to your client in such a way that your client is not only able to save tax, at the same time, you also follow law. So you have to apply your brain, you have to apply all the provisions that you have learned at the same time. In one single examination question, it is possible that you apply 5 to 6 sections at the same time. Possible. So this is a very interesting paper. There will be instances wherein you're studying one chapter and you will be connecting this chapter with another chapter, and then you will connect that with another. It's a very, very interesting paper. You will enjoy this. I do not deny, yes, this paper does get a little difficult in some places. It does get a little overwhelming in some areas. But then, if you have the right guide with you, if you have somebody who is mentoring you in the right way, you will be able to handle it. It is a little difficult in some places, but in those places, if your basic conceptual understanding is fine, you will be able to sail through. You understand? Now, if you look at this paper of tax laws, all right, like how I told you, it's going to be entirely an MCQ based paper, entire objective based question paper, and you will be getting 50 questions. Now, these 50 questions will be spread across the syllabus. In every subject, if you see in law, in CS, if you see in every subject, they would have broken down the subject into 3 to 4 parts. If you look at your study material, for example, if you look at your paper 2, if you look at company law, it's broken down into 3 parts. You have 50 marks and 40 marks and 10 marks, if I'm not wrong, or 60, 30, 10, something like that. So each subject in your CS paper has been broken down into various parts. But if you look at your tax laws paper, it has been broken down into 2 sub-subjects. It has been broken down into 2 subjects of income tax and GST. But within income tax, how many marks for each part, they haven't mentioned. Which means the entire 50 marks can be spread across your entire huge chapter. So there is nothing like, this chapter I can skip, this chapter I will do well. No, your question paper will be spread across the entire syllabus. So you are supposed to be good at every single chapter. And given how voluminous the subject is, you need enough practice. All right, now let us have a basic discussion as to how exactly you are supposed to prepare for this subject. Not just for this subject, I'm talking about how to prepare for CS executive exams in general. The next 5 to 10 minutes of my discussion, we're going to discuss about how to prepare for the CS examinations, the CS executive examination in general. I'm not just focusing on this paper. See, you have to follow the 3 C's. The first C, again, this has stopped writing. One moment, guys, I'll have to close the sheet and start again. So listen to me. So I was telling you, you are supposed to follow 3 C's. What are these 3 C's? The first C is about concept. You need to get your concept clear. You need to get your concept right. The key focus is on the concept. The key is to focus on what. What does the provision say? What does the law say? Why does the law say this? What was the problem? To solve which problem was this provision introduced? So many places in income tax, I will be telling you what, not only what the provision is, but also why do we have this provision. When you know the why behind the what, when you know the why behind the provision, when you know the background behind the provision, your understanding of the provision will be a little better. Now, there are so many places where people were evading tax. So many opportunities were there within the Income Tax Act, and people were enjoying those opportunities and taking advantage of those opportunities. They were evading tax. So that is why, what does the government do? What does the department do? They keep coming up with more and more amendments. So you should know what is the logic behind the amendments. Why was this provision introduced? Similarly, in Companies Act, there are so many provisions which are new insertions. There was a problem earlier. To solve that problem, this provision has been introduced. So any law you take for that matter, even income tax is a law, Income Tax Act 1961. Whatever you learn under income tax, even this will come from a law, the Income Tax Act 1961. So whenever you study a law, you should understand the concept. The key is to focus on what is the provision and why does the provision say this? What was the reason? Why was the law introduced? What is the logic? This is important. No matter which subject you're doing, especially income tax, you should know the reason behind the provision. This helps in concept building. This also increases your analytical skills. This will also make the subject more interesting for you. See, otherwise, what are you doing? If you don't study the concept, what are you doing? If you just learn without studying the concept, you are mugging up, you are cramming. And mugging up does not work in professional exams anymore. Mugging might have helped you in school, but not anymore. See, mugging might help if the examination is going to be full of straightforward theory questions. That is not going to happen in your CS executive. You look at a theory paper, you look at a subjective paper, it's going to be filled with case study based questions. You look at practical papers, you look at objective papers, it will be filled with practical case study based questions. So there is no question of you just reproducing in your paper whatever you have studied. No, you will have to apply concepts. Nowadays, even in your foundation, even in your CSET level, they have started asking case study based questions. Also, connect concepts. Just learning one concept is not enough. Connect similar points. You learned something in a chapter in income tax. Let's say you learned something in chapter 6A deductions. Connect it with what you learned in salaries chapter. You're learning something about how to calculate income of a company. Think, what did we learn similarly? What did we learn for an individual? You should connect concepts and study. So your first step is always concept. Your first step is always conceptual clarity. Your first step should always be get the concept perfectly right. If you get the concept right, half the job is done. Once your concept is clear, no matter how difficult the examination paper is going to be, you will be able to handle. So your first and foremost exercise should be to get your concept clear. Second C is about communicate. See, in case your paper happens to be an objective paper, then this point of communicate becomes not applicable. Because objective paper, you just have to do shading. It's going to be an OMR paper. You're going to have 4 boxes for each question. Whichever you think is correct, if you think option B is correct, you will shade option B. If you think option C is correct, you will say shade option C. So this question, this concept of communicate, this point of communicate is not really applicable for an MCQ paper, for an objective paper. But then theory papers, this is even more important than the concept point. See, you knowing the concept is one thing, but you also have to let the examiner know that you know the concept, isn't it? See, you not only have to focus on the concept, you also have to know about what to write and how to write in the exam. Just knowing the concept alone is not enough. It is equally important to communicate to the examiner that you know. Here, how you write and what you write, that matters. When your examiner reads the paper, he should get the vibe that yes, this child, this student has prepared hard for it. Now, how do you do this? How do you create this impression? This I'm talking only relating to your theory papers. I'm not talking relating to your objective papers. When your examiner reads your paper, he should feel, okay, looks like this child has studied properly. Now, how do you give that sort of a vibe to the examiner? How to present all the knowledge which you have gained over the last 6 to 7 months, how to show that in 3 hours in your answer paper? The answer is keywords. The answer is technical language, legal language. See, like I said, when you prepare, you understand the concept, fine. You must also learn the keywords and you must write those keywords in your paper. Now, how do you remember keywords? In income tax also, so many provisions. How will you remember all those provisions? Repeat. The simple answer is repeat. Repeat along with the teacher. No matter which subject you are doing, no matter what you are studying, always remember, repeat along with the teacher. That way, your brain will get familiar. See, as kids, when we were children, LKG, UKG, we went to school, the teacher taught us Baba Black Sheep. The teachers sang that rhyme. We also sang that rhyme along with the teacher. Tell me, at that time, did even one of you understand what that rhyme means? No, without even knowing what it means, we just repeated along with the teacher. We just repeated the rhyme along with the teacher. At the end of it, what happened? We memorized it. We kept repeating it so often that it got registered in our memory. So now, same way, if we are going to repeat along with the teacher, but this time understanding what we are repeating, that time we repeated without understanding, it still got registered in our memory. Teacher used to sing Baba Black Sheep, even we used to sing along with the teacher. It got registered in our memory. Today, if I ask you Baba Black Sheep, you should be able to tell me. But then in your CS executive classes, if you understand and repeat along with the teacher, are you able to imagine for how long you are able to, going to be able to retain the concepts? You are going to be able to remember concepts, learn concepts with the teacher right in class. And that is the kind of learning I advocate. See, listen, okay, tell me honestly, if you attend a 3 hours class, and after 3 hours class, if you have to spend again 3 hours at home learning the same thing, did attending class make any sense for you? No. So if you're attending my class, my objective is to make sure in those 3 hours, you not only understand the concept, you also learn the concept with me. The teaching methodology is learn with the teacher in class. My students say they finish off most of the preparation in class itself. That is how you should study. You understand, there is no, the right way of studying is wherein you are studying right in class. In class, you're not only understanding the concept, you're also learning the concept. 3 hours class you attended, at home, 20 to 30 minutes, revise what you studied in class, over, story over. At home, what are you going to do with the time at home? You're going to practice more questions. You're going to do homework questions. You're going to relearn. You're going to keep revising. That is what you're going to do. Studying the same thing which happened in class again for 3 hours, that is going to be a waste of time. So this is what even you should do. When we start our full-fledged classes, once we start our classes, you should try to learn with me. And how do you do that? By repeating along with the teacher. I just cannot stop stressing on how important it is for you to open your mouths and repeat. See, when you do that, your brain hears what you're saying, your brain gets familiar. Then later, when you're writing in the examination, understanding the question, solving the problem, all that becomes very easy. Because when you're solving the question, the steps which you repeated in class, those steps will come to your mind. You will apply those steps, your answer will just flow, guys. You get it? So your second C is communicate, wherein your language and my language should be the same. That is the way in which I'm repeating, the way in which the provisions are being repeated, same thing should get registered even in your memory. And then you do that in the examination. In the examination, if it is a theory paper, write keywords. Let the examiner see, writing in own words is not wrong. But along with your own words, even some legal language. Now you're a professional student. You have to use some technical language in your paper. For that is what I'm talking about when I say communicate. Your examiner, when he reads a paper, he should see a lot of keywords in your paper. He should feel, one moment guys, is there a problem? No. So please, are you understanding? When I say communicate, your keywords, there should be keywords in your paper. Only when there are keywords in your paper, this is for theory papers, only then will the examiner give you marks. See, you know what the examiner does? Do you know how he corrects your paper for professional exam? The institute will send the examiner the answer key. The examiner will try to look for the key in your paper. In the key, certain sentences are written, some points are written. The examiner will try to find that in your paper. If that is there in your paper, you get marks. You write something extra, you don't get any marks. You get marks only if your paper has the same thing which is written in the key. That is how you should answer your papers. That is why I say knowing the concept is one thing, but in your subjective papers, also being able to communicate the concept is important. If I talk about income tax, this point you can relax a little bit because objective paper. So there is no requirement of you putting down steps. There is no requirement for you to present properly. You can just do calculations roughly and you can give the answer. But when you do those rough calculations, your thinking sequence, what are you thinking? What are the steps that your brain is asking you to work out? That should be same like what we did in class. And how will that be possible? That will be possible if you are 100% attentive in class. If you focus in class, you keep repeating in class, you finish your learning right in class. That is possible. This is your second C. All right, now coming to your third C. Your third C is consistency. See, just learning the subject once, finishing off class, finishing the homework questions, that is not enough. You've learned the concept, you've learned the provision. Now, will this stay stuck to your memory forever? Of course not. If only this was possible, wouldn't writing exams become the easiest thing on the planet? Because you study once, you remember forever, story over. No, it doesn't work like that. See, here the most important rule applicable is consistency. You should keep reading it. We learn a provision once. Let's say we learned some 5 sections in today's class. Now, after a week, when you open the same 5 sections again, you may not remember it entirely, and that is okay. At that time, don't think what is wrong with me. Why is my memory so bad? Why am I not able to remember? This is natural. This is normal. If somebody tells you, no, I studied something 3 months back and I remember word to word, if somebody tells you that, then that is supernatural. That is abnormal. You know what is normal? Studying something and forgetting. That is normal. That is exactly why we get 6 to 7 months time to prepare before an examination, because the institute knows it will take you time to absorb concepts. So it is okay. You studied something on Monday. Next Monday when you open, if you see you remember half, you don't remember half, it is okay. That is exactly why you're going to revise. You know how you should do? Whatever you studied during the week, Sunday, I'm not going to study any new concept. Sunday is just for revision. Whatever you studied through the week, Sunday should be revised. Similarly, last day of the month, I am not going to study any new concept. Whatever you learned throughout the month, you should revise on Sunday. This is how your preparation should be. Revise, revise, revise. The more your brain sees the same thing again and again, it registers in your memory. Later in the examination, when a question gets asked, you will be able to imagine, in my book somewhere, right hand side corner, it was written. You will think and the exact words will strike your mind. Why? How is it possible? Because you kept repeating it so often that that your pictorial memory, your visual memory captured the images from the book. That is why I say you should always follow the same book. Don't do multiple authors. No. Trust your faculty. Whatever your faculty is doing in class, enough. Trust. Just follow one person. Follow one faculty. Follow one book. You understand? That way, what happens? You are seeing the same thing again and again. When you see the same thing again and again, things get registered in your memory. The same thing, if you're seeing in different books, your brain gets confused. So follow one book, follow one person, follow one notebook. You understand? And revise. Revise again and again. Test yourself again and again. Write mock tests. That way you know where your strengths are. You know where are you lacking. And if you're lacking at a place, there is no point of getting demotivated, no point of losing hope and all. We have time. We have 6 to 7 months time to prepare, and that is more than enough. You can easily finish your entire preparation. You understand? So the 3 C's over here, this is how you are supposed to prepare for your CS executive exams. Get your concept clear. Along with the concept, even see what the keywords are, because the keywords are what you will be writing in your examination. And revise. Be consistent with your revision. See, you know what I see? I see very often among students this problem. When the batch starts, okay, enthusiasm is sky high, super enthusiastic. This enthusiasm stays for 2 or 3 weeks. Then the enthusiasm falls. By the end of the course, who am I? What am I doing? Is it even worth it? All these questions start coming to the student's brain. No, enjoy the process. It's going to be a long process, 7 to 8 months of preparation, then exam, then next exam, next level, then training. Enjoy the entire process. Be consistent. So you have 2 choices. You can either cry and study, or you can enjoy the process and study. You anyways have to study. So you might as well enjoy the process. And also one more thing, guys. I always tell students, you should aim to get a rank. And as soon as I say this, no, students say, ma'am, rank and all don't want. I pass, that itself will be one big thing for me. Rank and all I don't want. Why? Why don't you want a rank? People who get a rank, are they a different species altogether? No, even they are human beings. What differentiates them then? Their amount of hard work, the amount of hard work they put in, that differentiates them, and rank holders become a different class of themselves. You should aim for a rank. There is nothing else that can decorate your CV as well as a rank can decorate your CV. You understand? So from the very beginning, aim high. See, if you're dreaming, you might as well dream big. You might as well dream huge. We don't want to be mediocre over here. We don't want to be average over here. Aim for a rank and work towards it. You understand? It is not impossible. You just have to combine hard work and smart work, and you get a rank. In CS Executive, it is very, very easy to score a rank. You should just have an aim for that. See, I remember very well when I was doing my CS final. This happened in my CS final, okay? Now, I wrote my CA final exams first, and only then I had my CS finals exam. So it was like CA final I wrote in November. Next June is the CS final. It was like that. So because I had the CS final exam, my CA final results also came. I passed also, but I did not join a job because 2 months after that, CS final exams were coming up. So a lot of my friends, they were like, Anu Shree, what is wrong with you? You have passed your CA. Might as well get a job and start working. What are you going to do with these CS exams? But then I just wanted to finish off because the first two levels were over. Just the third level, just the final level was over. It was left. So I just wanted to finish that off. Now, so much negativity all around. Everybody is like, not required, not required. But still, I want to do it. But so much negativity around. And CS final full of theory. Theory. Any paper you pick, there is so much theory. It was very boring. It got very exhausting and overwhelming for me. But then one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to do the CS exam was because I wanted to get a rank. So what I did was, to motivate myself, I wrote this number 1. I wanted to get the first rank. So I wrote this number 1, and I wrote this number 1 on the wall right next to me, right in front of me, where I study. So in front of my study table, there was a wall. So obviously my mom wouldn't let me write number 1 on the wall. So I wrote it on a piece of paper and I stuck it on the wall. And that number 1 gave me a sense of an objective. It gave me an objective. It gave me a reason why exactly I'm doing this. So you're going to put in a lot of effort, and this effort may get very, very overwhelming at times. At times you will feel, is it even required? When you see your other friends chilling, when you see your other friends going out for movies and you are sitting at home and stuck with the book, cramming, reading the same thing again and again, you will feel, is it even worth it? Why am I not enjoying my life like my friends? At that time, whenever those kind of thoughts came to my mind, that number 1 on the wall over there, it gave me a reason why exactly I'm doing this. Same way, I want all of you also to pick a number. Between 1 to 50, you would get 50 ranks, right? Which rank do you want from 1 to 50? Pick a number and work towards it. That will give you a reason to study. That will give you a reason to stay up all night if required and study. Do you understand this? Yes, your aim should be getting a rank. Work towards it. Stay focused, stay motivated. See, motivation also, you will not be motivated always. Motivation level keeps going up and down. When you feel you're demotivated, don't look for external sources of motivation. You should motivate your own self. You should pick your own self up. And even when that is not happening, even when motivation fails, discipline should make you get up and work. You're not motivated all the time. When you're not motivated, discipline should make you work hard. You understand? And discipline is very, very painful. Waking up at sharp 7 every day, revising for 2 hours before class, then sitting for class. After class, I want to sleep, but no, still sitting up and studying a little more, revising a little more. This discipline, following a schedule, it is very, very painful. I know, because I have been on the other side. I have been a student not very long ago. So yes, I do not deny discipline is very, very painful. But remember, the pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. Later regretting, oh, at that time I should have studied hard. Oh, at that time I should have put in a little extra effort. That is more painful than the pain of discipline. You understand? So from the very beginning, know what you want and work towards it. I remember this, I remember in school, we used to have this PT teacher, okay? And this PT teacher used to tell us that, when you're practicing for a game, practice like you have never won in your life. But on the match day, on the day of the match, when you're going to the field to perform with confidence, like as if you've never lost in your life. And that is exactly how you should be studying. When you're studying these 6 to 7 months, learn as if you have never done something in your life and now you want to prove yourself. So learn like as if you want to prove your worth to the world. But in the examination, when you walk into the examination hall, you should walk in with 100% confidence. At that time, shivering hands nervousness. No, we don't want all that. At that time, your performance has to be with 100% confidence. You know everything. You've put in hard work. 6 to 7 months, proper hard work you have put in. Now, any question comes in the examination, you should be able to handle. With that sort of confidence, you should walk into the examination hall. So when you're practicing, when you're learning, learn like as if you've never won in your life. Put in your all. See what is a subject. See what are the different parts of the subject. See which part is lesser to study but lot of marks. Especially in your CS executive, some papers have been divided into parts so beautifully. You look at company law, part 2, little to study, a lot of marks. Part C, little to study, 10 marks. So places like this where you have little to study but a lot of marks, easy to study but a lot of marks, you should be very, very good at those papers. You should be very, very good at those subjects. Those should become your strength papers, your strength subjects. This way, your aim of getting a rank can be fulfilled. Some smart work, a lot of hard work, and you are done. Are we clear with this? So how exactly to approach the exams? How should your preparation be? I've answered that. Your preparation, conceptual, focus on concept, focus on keywords for subjective papers, and revision. Keep revising. See, in school, 12th standard exam, 10th standard exam, how were we able to do it so comfortably? Because so many exams we wrote. Sometimes some revision exam, sometimes a midterm test, sometimes half-yearly exam, sometimes quarterly exam. Some exam or the other we kept writing. Same way, test yourself. Test yourself at this stage. Give yourself tests. Write down. In an examination environment, lock yourself in a room for 3 hours, write a test. See, are you able to handle the pressure? See your writing speed. One another problem with students face is writing speed. During class, make sure you take down running notes. That helps you build your writing speed. You should also know, how to attend exams, how to approach exams, how to prepare for a professional examination. To know that, you should also know how you should attend classes. You should attend classes in a very, very disciplined manner, especially online classes. Online classes, how many of you over here sitting on your bed and watching? No, beds are way too relaxing. If you sit on your bed and if you watch a lecture, your bed will say, leave, come sleep. Your bed will motivate you to come and sleep instead. Beds are way too relaxing. Either sit down on a study table chair or sit on your floor. Sit anywhere but not on the bed. There should be basic discipline even in online class. How to attend a class? Number one, where are you sitting? Number one, take all your stationery, keep your water bottle ready and sit on the desk. Tell me, had it been a face-to-face live class, would you get up every half an hour to go get a glass of water and come? No. You would sit with your water bottle. Same way. Imagine it is a classroom, but you are sitting at home. And in order to stay interested, keep repeating along with the teacher. See, you're sitting at home and your teacher cannot hear you, your teacher cannot see you. But then you should still keep repeating. Had you been in the exam, had you been in the classroom, you would have shouted out the answer. You would have given me the answer. You would have raised your hand and you would have said, ma'am, this is the answer. So same way, even though you're sitting at home, you should be talking to the computer. You should be talking to me through your laptop. See, I remember some time back, some 2 or 3 months back, I was attending some post-qualification course. Okay, I wanted to write the DSA exam. So I was attending a post-qualification course. Now, even they were online lectures. So the first day, I was able to sit for 40. I'm telling you honestly, okay, this is exactly what happened. I was able to sit maximum for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, I got restless. I was just not able to sit in front of that laptop and hear that faculty speak. I was drooping. I was literally not able to keep my eyes open and grasp what he's saying. After 45 minutes, all focus, all attention, everything gone. That is when I was thinking, how are these students sitting for 3 hours, 4 hours continuously and watching lectures? Then, what I started doing in the chat box, I started, being very, very active. Any question the faculty would ask, I would send an answer. He would just ask, did you understand? Immediately, yes, I would type and send. He cannot hear me, obviously, but still I started saying answers. Had I been in class, I would have shouted out answers. Same way I started doing. When I started doing that, I started feeling as if one-on-one teaching is going on. I started feeling as if it is just the faculty and me, as if he is teaching me one-on-one. And it got me so interested in the paper. The next 15 days went so smoothly for me. And since then, this is what I tell my students. Do this. Had you been in the classroom, you would have repeated, you would have given me answers. Same way, give answers even in online classes. Use the chat box as much as you can. Keep the chat box open at all times. Any question the teacher asks, type and send. That way you will stay active. You will feel involved in the class. Otherwise, it is as if you're watching one movie, a boring movie. You understand? So involve yourself. Involve yourself in the lecture. That way you will stay a lot more interested than otherwise. All right. So I've handled the first two questions of how to approach the exam and how to handle your paper and how to prepare. Now coming to the next question, how to manage time during the exam. How to manage time during your exam. Now your examination is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. All your papers, even your MCQ papers, every paper you get 3 hours of time. Now, if I talk about income tax and GST put together, if I talk about, you get totally 100 marks, 100 marks question paper, and you get totally 100 MCQs. And how much time do you have? You have 3 hours, which means you have 180 minutes. So you get how much time for each MCQ? For each MCQ, you get exactly 1.8 minutes. Some questions will not take you even 1 minute to answer. Some questions, 30 seconds, your answer will be there. Some questions will take quite a lot of time. On a question, do not spend more than 2 minutes at a time. Why do I say 2 minutes? When you get 1.8 minutes only, why am I not saying 1.8? Why am I saying 2 minutes? Because I know that there will be some questions which you will be able to finish in just 30 seconds. So you get extra time from those questions. So in case on a question, you end up spending more than 2 minutes, then skip the question. Come to that question later. Finish off all the easier questions first. Read the question. If you think you're able to finish it and start solving, within 2 minutes you get the answer, great. Go to the next question. Otherwise, if it's taking too much time, don't stay stuck on that same question. Leave the question, come to it towards the end. Do not hesitate in doing that. You don't have to finish a question and only then go to the next question. Also, there is no negative marking. So even if you don't know the answer, at least attempt something and come, at least take something and come, because there is no negative marking. You understand? And please make sure you don't spend too much time on one single question. In case you think no, it is not happening, skip it. It's fine. We'll come back to it later. And in the examination, those 3 hours, be as calm as you can. Yes, seeing the environment, everybody around you bending their heads and consistently writing, continuously writing will scare you. But you keep your calm. You have prepared for so many months and your preparation will help you now. You have all the knowledge in your mind. Be very, very calm during the examination. Because in the exam, that's why I say perform like you've never lost in your life. When you walk into the examination hall, walk with your head held high, confidence, walk in and go. That is required. Because if you're confident in your examination, half the battle is won there itself. Otherwise, nervousness and all, guys, you forget concepts. Something which you knew so well, you will forget even that. That is why be very, very calm and maintain your composure during the exam. All right. So in case a question, see, and you know what, when we work out questions in class, when we start our classes, when we start doing income tax, especially income tax, you know how exactly I'm going to go about. We are going to first learn the concept. Then we are going to work out questions on that concept. When we do that, we have learned the concept, we've applied the concept, and we know now how to solve the question. But that is not enough. See, in my classes especially, the kind of questions I'm going to make you all work out will be one level above the kind of knowledge which is required at CS Executive. The questions will be a little more difficult than what is actually required. Why do I make you do that? Because it is always better to be one step ahead of the examiner. That way, no matter how difficult the question paper is, we will be able to handle. So our objective from the very beginning will be what? To prepare for such an examination, which is the worst examination ever. Worst examination ever means what? The most difficult examination ever. When you prepare yourself for the most difficult examination, no matter what question they ask us, you will be able to handle. But still in the examination, if you find a question, a big question, and it's taking you too much time, skip it for then, come to it a little later. All right, so this is about your next question on how exactly are we going to attend the examination. Not more than 2 minutes per question. All right, and then at the end, whichever question you skipped, at the end you come to them and you finish it off. 3 hours are more than enough to handle 100 questions. Easily you will be able to handle. Okay, and then now before I open the session for question and answers, I thought I'll just let you know a little bit of how exactly your subject of income tax is and how are we going to go about what is my plan for you all. Now, in your income tax paper, I will divide it into 3 parts. Your first part will be the basic concepts. Along with the basic concepts, I will also teach you about residential status. And then we will learn about the scope of total income. Let me tell you a little bit about the first part. This will be the first part of your syllabus. In your basic concepts chapter, you will study about concepts like, what is income, then what is previous year, what is assessment year, who is assessee, what is income tax, the different kinds of taxes, basic points, how to calculate tax, all that you will be studying. Residential status chapter, what will you study? Imagine, let's say I am an Indian citizen. I have a house in America. I have given that house on rent. From that house, I am earning rental income. Will that rental income be taxable for me or not? Same way, there's an American citizen. He has a house in Chennai. That house he has given on rent. From that house, he's earning rental income. He's an American citizen, but will we ask him to pay tax in India? All that you will study in these 2 chapters. You will study if you're assessee, if the person is a resident, all his incomes, no matter where he's earning the income from, everything will be taxed. If he's not a resident, only Indian incomes will be taxed. All this you will be studying in these 2 chapters. This is the first part of your syllabus. In the second part of your syllabus, you will be learning about 5 heads of income. The Income Tax Act divides income into 5 categories. The first category is salary income. Second category is income from house property. Third category is profits and gains from business and profession. Fourth category is capital gains. And your fifth category is income from other sources. In case I'm earning an income as an employee, there's an employer-employee relationship. I work for an employer. He is giving me income that will be taxed under salary. I have a house, I gave that house on rent. Rental income I earned, that will be taxed under income from house property. I have a business, and from that business I earned profits, that will be taxed under PGBP. Or I am a chartered accountant or a company secretary and I'm having a practice, I'm running a practice. From the practice, I'm having some receipts, some professional receipts, that will be taxed under again PGBP. Capital gains, I have a capital asset. For example, I have a house, I sold away the house. Or I had some jewelry, I sold away the jewelry. I sold a capital asset, I earned some money, that will be taxed under capital gains. If I have an income and it is not salary income, not IFHP income, not PGBP income, not capital gains income also, then I will put it to tax under the IFOS head. So IFOS becomes a residuary head. IFOS becomes a residuary head, which means what? If an income does not fit under any other section, put it under the IFOS head. This is a second part. This will be the most important part of your entire syllabus. And then in the third part, you will get chapters like clubbing of income, where somebody else would have earned the income, and on that income, you will be paying tax. Then you have this chapter called set off of losses. I earned loss from this head, I will set it off against this. I have loss from house property, I will set off against this. Basically, loss and profit can be set off. That is what you will be learning in this chapter. Then you have some deductions. And then finally, you will be learning about TDS, tax deducted at source, tax collected at source, advance tax, and then assessment procedures. So these will be the 3 parts of your syllabus. And we will go in sequence, in exactly the same sequence we will be doing. So for each chapter, how our sessions would be like is that we will first take the concept. We will learn up the concept thoroughly. Whatever question is possible from the concept, we will learn the concept. Then we will apply that concept in questions. Not in MCQ questions. We will apply those concepts in full-fledged questions. We will work out full-fledged questions. If we are able to work out full-fledged questions, any part of that full-fledged question they will take and give you as MCQ, you will be able to handle. And later we will do some practice of MCQ questions. A lot of homework questions will be given to you all, which is up to you all. If you all think, I think you are old enough to decide that. If you think you are confident enough in a chapter, you need not spend time for those homework questions. If you think, no, I want more practice, then you can do those homework questions. That I'm going to assume you are mature enough to make that decision. That is how our sessions will go. Each chapter, one by one, we will take conceptual understanding, then a lot of practice. Then we will also see what kind of questions are asked in your study material. There's also a practice paper which is given to you all on ICSI's website. If you see under the academic portal, you will see a practice paper. So questions from there, questions from your study material, past examination questions, we will do them. We will fit them all at the relevant places. So as we do the syllabus, any connected examination question paper, we'll solve it then and there. So this is how we will be doing our sessions. For income tax, we will be spending quite a lot of time. Even though it is 50 marks, it will take us a lot of time because it is a huge syllabus. It is a voluminous syllabus. Even though it's going to be a lot of time, trust me, you're going to enjoy this paper. Now, for example, I'll give you one small example, okay? When you get a gift from somebody, it goes under the head IFOS. But then salaries chapter also you would have studied. If the employer gives a gift to the employee, that will be taxed under the head salary. Salaries chapter you will be finishing off somewhere in the beginning of the syllabus itself. Towards the end of the syllabus, you will be learning IFOS. At that time, you will have to connect the provision that if I receive a gift, it will be taxed under IFOS. But I remember learning salaries chapter. Employee receives a gift, that will be taxed under salaries itself. You understand? Like that, you will have to learn to connect provisions. You will connect chapters. That way, there is no scope of forgetting. By the time you reach this chapter, you will not forget what you have learned in this chapter. Why? Because these concepts are all interlinked. When I'm teaching you something in this chapter, I will connect it with something which you have learned over here. This way, what happens? We end up revising the same thing again and again. And I already told you, the more we see the same thing again and again, the longer it gets registered in our memory. So this is how our classes would be. We will start with the basic concepts. Some of you might have some knowledge in income tax because you must have done a little bit of income tax in college. Some of you would be learning income tax for the very first time. Doesn't matter. We're going to start from the very basics. And then we will build on that knowledge little by little, little by little, little by little. And that is how we will prepare for this paper. End of it. Your knowledge in income tax will be such that whatever the difficulty level may be, you should be able to handle. That is what our objective will be. To reach that objective, a little effort from my side, a little effort from your side. Effort from your side would be making sure you finish off the learning in class, not just attending class. You also have to learn off with me. That way, at home, you will spend time on other papers. At home, you can spend time on homework questions. At home, you can spend time on practicing more questions. But at home, not even 1 minute should be spent on learning the concept, because conceptual learning should happen right in class. All right, so that is it. This is what I had planned for you all today. Now, in case anybody has any question, you can get the question clarified. You guys can unmute yourself and get your questions clarified. Any questions? No questions, all clear? So shall we close the session here then? So we'll end the session here. I will look forward to seeing you all once again. Once we start our sessions, our full-fledged sessions, I think that is somewhere in end of June or July. I'm not too sure. All right. So we'll close here. Thank you, guys.